Hello again and welcome to another Mordy and Glory Warhammer 40k video. And today it's time for another quick tip tactica, the episode of the week where we look at a cheeky tactic or strategy that you can plug and play into your army. Now, recently I've been on a bit of a mech guard kick. I even ended up taking my metal boxes all the way to America and playing with them in the Adepticon tournaments. And it was at these events that I really pushed my scout mirror tactic. But don't worry if you've not seen that video, I'll make sure there's a link to it at the end of this one. However, I've played a few games before and since Adepticon where I tried a new Chimera tactic. Well, I say new, it's actually an ancient one back from the dark days of 5th edition. That's right, boys. We're getting the veterans in Chimeras back. It's time for the Drive-By Chimera. And so without further ado, let's not mess around any further. Let's mount up, roll out, and charge right into today's episode. Let's begin with a brief overview of what the hell the Drive-By Chimera was. What the heck are veterans in Chimeras? Well, back in 5th edition, the Chimera had the firing deck, much like it does now. And there was a unit back then which was called veterans. They were essentially a very cheap Imperial Guard squad, just like your normal guardsmen, except for they had an extra pip of ballistic skill, and they could also take multiple special weapons.
Attention, guardsmen! The Commissariat has detected you have not yet liked this video. Do so immediately, or else you will face the Emperor's wrath. And anyone who has not yet subscribed to the channel will be transferred to the penal battalions. That is all. Move out!
And what people did is they took their veterans, they gave them a shitload of melter guns and plasma guns, and they put them in the back of a Chimera. This meant that the veterans got a whole bunch of benefits. Firstly, now they weren't a 10-man squishy guardsman squad walking across the battlefield getting picked up instantly. They were protected behind thick slabs of armor. Sure, the Chimera isn't a main battle tank, but it's going to take more than a few stray bolter rounds to make it combat ineffective. Also, the veterans were much faster now that they were riding in the back of a Chimera and not having to foot slog it 6 inches across the board. Finally, the Chimera itself got a number of benefits, the big one being it was able to handle targets well above its weight class. Normally, those heavy bolters and heavy stubbers wouldn't be able to do much against proper armoured vehicles, but with a few melter guns or plasma guns in the back, you could start taking on big tanks and even beating them. And in fact, this tactic was so powerful that Guard got nicknamed the Leaf Blower, which meant that the army was so powerful it literally blew other armies off the table as if they were naught but leaves on the wind. Unfortunately, all of this is in the past, and whilst the Chimera firing deck has made a triumphant return, veterans are long in the dust, no longer a unit available to commanders of his Imperial Guard. But fortunately, as one door closes, another door opens. And so we do have a number of other units which can start emulating the old Drive-By Chimeras, the old leaf blower of yesteryear. Firstly, you've got some obvious choices like the Caden Shock Troops and the Death Corps Krieg. These are 10-man squads which can both take a lot of special weapons, and you can have a plasma gun and a melter gun in each unit and have both of those shoot out the top. In the case of the Death Corps Krieg, you can actually have a plasma gun, a melter gun, and a grenade launcher, and even a plasma pistol on the sergeant, so you have a big variety of weapons that you might want to use. If you're firing at range, you'll probably go for that plasma gun and the grenade launcher, taking advantage of the 24 inches, but when things get up close and personal, you'll probably put the grenade launcher back down and bring the melter gun up once you get within those 12 inches or maybe even 6 inches if you want to take advantage of the melter rule. But here's the thing. Both of those units, whilst on paper look like good alternatives for the late veterans, they don't quite cut the mustard, and that's because of their ballistic skill. What made the veterans so good was that they hit on threes, that they hit very reliably, and that they were able to connect those shots again and again and again. And they did it relatively cheaply as well. Your Acadians and your Kriegers only have ballistic skill 4. Now, it is possible to get them up to a higher ballistic skill. When you're using the firing deck, if you order the Chimera to take aim, not only will the heavy bolts of the Chimera get the +1 to hit, but also the weapons being shot out of the firing deck, because technically, rules as written, the Chimera counts as using those weapons, so it benefits from the take aim. The problem with this is it requires a valuable vehicle order, and in my experience, those vehicle orders tend to be going to other places that are higher priority targets for them. You want to put take aim on things like your battle tanks, your demolishers, or your artillery. Those Bathers and Manticores really enjoy the take aim, and combining it with things like daring recon, you can get some very, very accurate heavy weapons fire. As a result, when it comes to the hierarchy of orders, your Chimeras don't tend to get them very often, and so we need a unit that can be hitting on ballistic skill 3 natively and connecting those melter shots and those plasma shots without the help of the officer corps. So if we need a unit that has lots of special weapons and natively hits on a 3+, what are our options? Well, one of the most obvious ones is Cadia's Elite, the Kazakin. On paper, these steely-eyed killers look like they bring everything to the party. Firstly, it's a 10-man squad, so there's some good mass there. If the Chimera goes down or for some reason we need to get out, we've got enough bodies that we can potentially dump onto the objective. Secondly, everyone and their mum is packing some heat. We've got up to double melter, double plasma gun, there's hotshot snipers in there, there's plasma pistols, there's all sorts of weapons that we can throw down with. And having double melter means that if we come across a tank, well, we can pop both melters out the top hatch. And having double plasma means if we come across some melee infantry, we can get all of the rapid fire plasma that we want. Either way, we're always using the most efficient weapons for the job. Combine this with the fact that the Kazakin have the Scout Universal Special Rule, and not only are we getting a drive-by Punchy Chimera, but we're also getting a hybrid because we've got elements of the Scout Mirror in there as well. But, and it is a big but, and I cannot lie, all you other Cadians cannot deny that it's got a hefty points tag. 170 points for this combo means that it's starting to compete. It's starting to go into the territory of other damage dealers like main battle tanks. And you have to ask yourself, which one do you think is going to do more damage? A couple of melter guns poking out the top, or a Liam battle tank potentially getting full rerolls with battle cannons, multi-melters, las cannons, you name it, it's chucking it down range. Also competing with things like the Exterminator, which has got inbuilt full rerolls to wound, and yeah, so it's good and it is very flexible, and those battle tanks aren't as maneuverable and their objective game isn't as good. So there's all those things taken into account, but I would describe the Kazakin as the gold-plated option. It does everything, but you are paying for that. This brings us to our final option, which I think's in the Goldilocks zone. It's in the sweet spot. It balances price and punch very nicely. And this is your Scions, your Stormtroopers, your Sons of the Scholar Progenium. You can take a 5-man Scion unit, and it can have a plasma gun and a melter gun and a plasma pistol for 55 points. That is the same as a Catachan unit. In fact, a Scion drive-by Chimera is a direct straight swap for the Scout Mirror. Maybe you've been running 6 Scout Mirrors and you found that really after the first 2 or 3, you don't need all the scout moves, they're kind of just getting in the way, so you want something that's got a little bit more punch to it, something that can actually follow up and do some damage. Well, the Scion drive-by Chimera, and if someone's got a more catchy name for that, put it down in the comment section below and we'll use that one, but the Scion Chimera really does tick all the boxes. It's very cheap. It has inbuilt good ballistic skill because they hit on 3s natively, and it's bringing you the melter gun and the plasma gun that will allow you to punch enemy units from safely inside the Chimera and allow the Chimera to start taking on other threats. Now let's not over exaggerate things here. 1 melter gun, 1 plasma gun on its own isn't going to do a huge amount, and even if you do come across a vehicle you're still often going to be wounding on 5. So you're looking at sort of dealing with a lot of elite infantry or light vehicles with this. But we're not talking about taking one of these things. We're talking about mech guard. And when we're taking mech guard, typically you don't leave home without 6 chimeras with stuff inside. That's what you want to be doing. I've tried taking mech guard. Those of you that watch the battle reports, Salty Simon has tried taking mech guard with less than 6 chimera units, and it just doesn't work. But looking at this through the lens of, oh well, 1 melter gun, 1 plasma gun isn't going to do much, is kind of disingenuous, because you want to be looking at this through the idea of 6 of them. Remember, we're going down a leaf blower style. We want to be able to destroy our enemies while sitting safely inside our metal boxes. And 125 points for a Chimera that has some decent punch, that has some decent ballistic skill, that doesn't need orders to be effective, and weirdly, even though it's cutting it a bit fine, can still play the objective game. In my experience, a lot of people in 40k right now, a lot of other factions are really not investing in their objective control. Most people are getting away with lots of small elite units or vehicles which have 3 or 4 OC. Well, a 5-man Science Squad still has 5 objective control. And it is possible, and you would do this if it would flip points and screw your opponent over on primary or give you more points on primary. You can order them duty and honor, which gives them extra OC. So you can get this 5-man squad up to 10 OC. And so you can still play the objective game very, very effectively, because most people are taking even less than 5 OC whilst being very cheap and having lots of DACA. You are missing out on the Kazakin's ability to scout with the Chimera, and you are missing out with the paired special weapons at the top, because they can choose to have double plasma or double melter at the top, or one of each. With the Scions, because it's only a small 5-man squad, you're limited to 1 plasma and 1 melter, but it is 45 points cheaper. And if you're taking 3 of these units, then that's going to save you 135 points. That's a whole extra unit. That's all. You can get a lot in the guard for 135 points. And it also fits in quite nicely, because you could go battle line with this. You could have a Scion Command Squad, which is 80 points, but a little bit more, but still 20 points cheaper than a Kazakin unit. And you could do this 6 times if you wanted to. Or you could just do it 3 times. I'm like, look, I've got 3 Scout Mirrors with my Kachans in. They're the ones that are pushing on the objectives. Second wave following up is going to be my 3 drive-by Scion Chimeras. So there's quite a nice little bit of synergy, and it almost falls neatly into place by itself. Well, at least that's what I think. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Are you convinced by the drive-by Chimera, or are you going to stick with the Scout Mirrors, or are you not convinced by mech guard tactics at all? Let me know what you're thinking. Of course, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button. It really makes a big difference. And subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian Glory Hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing, truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members, so thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Mad Larkin, Marcus Roberts, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.